What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Sports. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're talking Warriors and a little bit of 49ers updates. As we all know, or maybe you don't know, George Kittle has signed with the 49ers. He's going to be there long term. Good thing for Brock Purdy because he's going to need that guy with the fact that the offensive line didn't get any help in the draft, guys. Didn't get any help. The offensive line didn't get any help. A lot of the defensive side of the ball got some help in the draft. And that's fine. I'm okay with that, guys. I just wish they would have went off on the offensive line a little bit more and picked up a couple of guys. Didn't happen. Fine. Maybe they'll go out and get some guys in free agency or whatnot. But, hey, the fact is George Kittle is a 49er long term, and this is awesome. That being said, let's get back to the Warriors. The last time you saw me on this podcast, I was pretty emotional about how the Warriors were playing, and I thought they laid down and just died. Since then, I think in Game 4, they came back with a vengeance and showed exactly why this team should win this series. But then in Game 5, kind of a blowout. They had to travel back to Houston, and that was a tough game. Their defense kind of faltered right off the bat. The bench kind of got him back into the game in Game 5, but guys, that bench just couldn't get it over the hump. I think they got it down to maybe 14 points, which was kind of impressive because the Warriors were losing by like 30 at the end of the second half. It was really not good. So what I'm looking for here is a Warrior win tomorrow. I think everybody is. I'm going to call it a must win. I really am, because if they have to go back for Game 7 into Houston, that is just a tall task. I think the Warriors should win that game as well, but I don't feel good or comfortable about that. I feel much better about the Warriors getting Houston done at home tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Everybody's got to be watching for that, because this is a game the Warriors, I think, really should have. Because consider this. Even if it goes to a Game 7 and the Warriors win that game, that means that they have little to no downtime before they have to go and play Minnesota in Minnesota on Tuesday, guys. So getting this over on Friday and getting a couple days rest before they go see Minnesota is imperative. If they win the series in a Game 7 and they go to Minnesota, that's a really tough series to win when you got no downtime. On top of that, Dylan Brooks is absolutely just attacking Steph Curry's thumb. It was apparent last night when they were playing. And if you don't know the rule, basically the rule says that when a player shoots a basketball and the ball leaves their hand, the defender can do what's called a high five, and they can hit that player's hand, and it's no foul. Well, unfortunately, when you have a thumb injury, a player can focus on that thumb during that high five, and that's what they're doing against Steph Curry right now. And unfortunately, it's happening a lot. And so I think the NBA is going to crack down on that next game, because I don't think they want that to influence the entire series, and it might be doing that right now. I gotta say, guys, it might actually be influencing the series a little bit. Steph Curry's thumb doesn't look good. You know, there's a picture of his thumb. It wasn't real. It wasn't realistic, but I guarantee his thumb is not doing well, because he's had that injury since before the playoffs started, and he's battling through it, guys. But that's what champions do, and that's what Steph Curry's going to do tomorrow. I'm not even going to spout off numbers from yesterday, because that's how bad that game was. They went down by 20 points in the first quarter, and then by more than 30 by the end of the second quarter. I think they brought it within 33 points or 34 points at the end of the second quarter, but they never really got back. Again, the bench brought them back. Here's a good sign. Though, for the Warriors. The bench did bring them back to within 15, and that forced the Rockets to bring in their starters again and get those starters a little bit more work than I think the Rockets wanted. So that's bad news for the Rockets when it means coming into Golden State and their starters didn't sit as much as the Warriors starters. Because let's face it, guys, the Warriors starters got some rest time when that game got blown out. They got some rest, got to healing. And I think that we close this thing out tomorrow. But if we don't, that presents a problem, guys, because that Warriors team is going to be going against a Rockets team who has now got confidence. More confidence than they have now, okay? And right now, they're pretty confident anyway. They're young. They don't know any better. But if they get to win that game and bring it back to Houston, that's a scary game for the Warriors to have to play. I don't want to get there. I think that they're going to get that done tomorrow. But, guys, I'm excited about what's coming tomorrow because I think the Warriors are going to be ready to go. I think they're ready to battle. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. It's not going to be one of those games. It's a blowout game, but it certainly will be a fun game to watch. And at the end of it, I do think the Warriors will win. They are favored by, I think, 6 points, or maybe it's 4 or 6 points. Either way, not very comfortable, but at the same time, they're favored by 4 or 6 points, so that gives us some sort of semblance that the Warriors should be able to close it out. They should be able to close it out anyway. They're a better, more veteran-ready team. They've won championships, and the Rockets have never been there. So the Rockets should have a hard time closing this thing out tomorrow. I don't think they should. I think the Warriors should get it done, and then we'll have to go back to Houston. If they have to go back to Houston, again, that's a scary game to have to play because now you have a Rockets team that's confident in a Game 7 at home. I don't think it's going to get down to that, but you know they're going to play dirty. You know they're going to start trying to key even more on Curry's thumb unless the refs start calling a foul, which, remember, it's not a foul if the player is shooting the ball leaves his hands, and the player gives that other guy a high five. That's not a foul. So when Steph Curry's got a hurt thumb, they're just going to hit his thumb and bend it back as much as they possibly can, and it's not a foul. And if they do that enough, Steph Curry could be, who knows, he could leave the game. And that would be a big problem for the Warriors. So let's hope the refs key in on that a little bit more. Let's hope they call the fouls when players are just swiping at him, because that's what they're doing. That's where the foul would be. The foul would be is if Steph Curry is dribbling the ball down the court and they swipe at his hand and they continue to do it intentionally. That's where the foul would probably end up. So at the end of the day, that's what you want to see the refs key in on, because they can't key in on something that's not a foul in the first place. But I will say it's going to be a tough, grinded out game tomorrow. You're going to need Jimmy Butler out there at his best. You're going to need Draymond Green out there at his best. Defensive Player of the Year snub, I'll tell you right now. He should have been Defensive Player of the Year. He wasn't. I think he's taking that as a chip on his shoulder, and good for him for doing that, because we need that Draymond Green defensive excellence out on the court tomorrow. It has to happen to get this going. Now, I've always said we need somebody on the bench not named Steph Curry or Jimmy Butler to score points. And you know what? For the most part, the bench is doing their job. I expect them to continue to do their job. Let's hope for a big game out of Podziemski maybe tomorrow. He was on fire for a little while, kind of cooled off a little bit and came back down to earth. But if he can get back on fire, who knows? Let's see what happens. We need other guys to score. We need other guys to score, not named Curry or Butler. Anybody. Post getting some meaningful minutes. He's not afraid to go up against anybody. I love that about Post. He needs more experience, and that's for sure. But I like how he's playing. And so we just need some other guys. Moody in the starting lineup needs to help, and let's see if JK gets in there. Maybe JK gets in and gets some points. We'll see. I don't know that JK sees any playing time. He hasn't so far, so if he does, it's probably not a good sign. Or it's an incredibly good sign. But if it's a close game, I don't see JK getting in this game. I just don't, guys. So let's see what happens with that. But Moody getting some points would be nice. Anything over 12 to 15 would be that working. Podziemski getting 15, 18 points would be outstanding. Post doing a little bit. And anybody else that can get in there and help and score some points would be great. And that will be a good night for the Warriors. If it's quiet on the bench front, that's where Steph Curry is going to have to work overtime, and then it's going to be scary, but we'll see how it goes. Again, it's a collective effort, guys, and this team needs to show up with guys not named Steph Curry that can score the ball. And there are some nights where they just don't. Last night wasn't one of them. Last night, the bench outscored the starters by far. By far. It was crazy. So, good on them. Good on them. So, gosh darn it. So, guys, keep watching the show here. I love doing the podcast. I love that you're watching me and supporting me. We're growing the channel every single day. We're getting more and more supporters, more and more subscribers, and more views. And it means I'm doing something right. Great interview with Dan Dibley last week. Really enjoyed it. He made some very good points, and he thought this would be over in 6, and he may very well be right, and I hope he is, because if it goes 7, it's a bigger deal. But let's hope I can get him back on after the series to get his take on the next one. Maybe we'll get a chance to get him back on again. So we got some guests coming in. We're going to have Matt Steinmetz back on the show sometime after this series. That's confirmed. It's just a matter of when. I'm guessing sometime over this weekend or early next week. With any luck, we'll see. We'll see what happens after game 6 on Friday. What his schedule looks like. I'd love to get him on the show before the beginning of the next series to get his take, and then we'll try and get Guru back here when he's free. Also, love talking to those guys. I think they're some of the best sports announcers in the Bay Area, and if not the best. Damon Bruce, would love to get him back on too, so we'll see. But anyway, guys, this is going to be a great game tomorrow. It's a good opportunity for the Warriors to stand up and get a win. It's game 6. It couldn't be written any better than it is. This is all about Steph Curry getting this thing over with and getting to the next round. Hey, LeBron James is not in the playoffs anymore, guys. Giannis is not in the playoffs anymore, guys. The superstars you're looking at are the superstars of the future and the superstars of the now. And it's Steph Curry against basically all the superstars of the future. So is it going to be Steph Curry's story once again for another championship? I sure hope so. Who knows? Steve Kerr's got a good plan going. I think it's working. And you know Steve Kerr in the playoffs. Steve Kerr in the playoffs, when he gets 7 games to figure you out, he only needs 2. Maybe 2. Maybe not even. And if you don't get on the Warriors right away, they've got you. And guess what, Rockets? They've got you. They've got you right now. They got on you. They figured you out. And they got you. And tomorrow, I think, will prove what I'm saying to be correct. We'll see, guys. Super excited. I'll see you guys on Saturday because we're going to talk after the Warriors game on Friday. And then Monday, we're going to go back to Niners football before the Warriors start the next series against Minnesota on Tuesday if they win the series. I'm getting ahead of myself, but whatever. So anyway, guys, remember, hard work beats talent when talent don't work. I'm going to keep working hard for you. You keep watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Go Warriors.